All right, all right, all right. Let's see if we can get this thing going tonight. Make sure the audio's coming through. All right, get a little mood music in the background. Give me just 1 second. Let's see. This one's good. There we go. All right, all right. I know I'm late. Guys. I'm sorry, but I'll tell you guys why in just a second. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. It's all my fault. It's one of those situations where you just know things are going to happen all at the same time, and they always do. So that's what happened. David's here. Hey, David, how's it going? David says hi. How's it going, David? Let me do widescreen here so I can read these things. Glenn's here. Hey, Glenn says you're late. Yes, I am. I am absolutely late, but I have a good excuse. I'll tell you about it in just a minute. David says, I'm talking to someone famous. Oh, no, you're not. Welcome to the show, David. Welcome. Greg says, I was worried. Yes, it's one of those things that happens. I'll tell you guys all about it in just a minute. It's nothing major. Just, it's one of those things where you know if something's going to happen, it's going to happen right as something else important is supposed to happen. And that's what happened. So Clark says, what's up, Drew? Not much, Clark, man. I'm doing good, doing good. Avery will not be, just so you guys know, Avery will not be in tonight. He was not feeling well yesterday and didn't enjoy the Nerd Den. And he texted me ahead of time to let me know he wasn't going to be able to make it. And I told him, no big deal. I can handle it myself. And then I'm running late. That's just how it goes, guys. That's how it goes. Clifford's here. Hey, Clifford says, hey, MCS. Everybody, welcome, welcome. D-Bad is here. Your time is your time. Well, thank you. Thank you. Manuel, welcome, my friend. Good evening, my friend Drew. Avery, absolutely. B. Bernie B says, hello, all. Glenn says, blame the cat. Nope, it's the wife's fault this time. It really is, but really it's not. It's just how timing works in life. Manuel says, good evening to David. Tim's here. Hey, Tim, how's it going? Says, good afternoon from Kentucky. Welcome to the show. Manuel says, Glenn, good evening. D-Bad says, you should not have to apologize. Well, I do because it's true. My goal, I have several goals with this channel. Daily videos, daily shorts, live stream 8 o'clock Saturday nights. And my goal is to do those things and be consistent with those things. And if one of them is going to fail, I want to make sure you guys are aware of it. And this was one of those things where at 7:59, crap hit the fan, and not bad stuff, but I just couldn't start the live stream on time. Darlene's here. Hey, Darlene, how's it going? Says hello, everybody. Pez is here. Pez, my friend down under, how are you? G'day from Oz. Hope everyone is well. So far, not too bad. Glass Bottle's here. Hey, Glass Bottle says hello, E&E. Manuel says good evening to Craig. Craig says, Clark says better late than never. That is true. That is true. Except if I'm going to be late, I'd like to let you guys know. But this was one of those things where I kind of need. It was a last second thing. Manuel says good morning to Pez. Craig says like butter, please. Like button, please. Like butter. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's been a long week, my friend. Manuel says Tim, good evening. Manuel says hello to Clark. Pez says good day to Manuel. Manuel says I hit bottom on this I hit bottom on to subscribe. Well, excellent. And Tim says, did James get fired from the Comcast scammers? I haven't heard back from James. Matter of fact, I even thought about him today and thought I might try giving him a call with the number that I have for him. He has answered it in the past. Sometimes it goes to a voicemail, but it's been a while. So maybe sometime later this week, I'll reach out to him and see if we can get him on the phone. Manuel says, good day to Glass Bottle. Dave says, hello, Drew. Welcome to the show, sir. David says, I love butter. Yeah. Yeah, hit the like butter. Clifford says, I left another live stream for a different community to join the chat here. Well, fantastic. Well, welcome, sir. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Greg says, hey, Manuel. Clark says hey to Manuel as well. David says, why do all the scammers sound the same? I swear it's the same person. I've gotten numerous calls in which, after a second or two, I think they realize they've talked to me before, because they'll either just hang up or they'll start screwing with me right away. And so I know it's a lot of the same people, but these call centers, from what I understand, some of them can be pretty big, 60, 50 people, 50 or 60 people at any given time of day. So yeah, the chances of getting one you've already spoken to, very highly possible. But all the time, probably not. I get a lot of new people when I talk to people, and just who've never been screwed with, at least by me, and I just take advantage of that and run with it. Manuel says, good evening to Clifford. D-Bad says, do you let them connect to your VM? No, absolutely not. Never have. I'm not smart enough to set up my own virtual machine to have them access to, so I never, ever give them access to anything on my computer. Pretty much every single piece of information that I give them is utterly made up and fake. There are times where I'll let something slip out. Like, other than the fact that I live in Jacksonville, that's probably the only constant that I tell them that's true. The address I give them is fake, or I should say, the address I give them is not mine. The date of birth, the name, all that stuff, it's all made up. I never give them the ability to access anything that's really mine. I'm not that smart. I'm not one of those guys that can set up their own virtual network or virtual machine and give them access to it and just watch them play. I don't, nah. Maybe one day, but no, I don't. Manuel says, hello, good evening. Hello, Dead. Good evening. Happy Saturday night. I'm not sure who he's talking. Oh, he's talking about D-Bad. It's all right. Glenn says, good evening, Jacksonville. Yes, that's right. Guys, I am very excited. Football comes back tomorrow. I am very, very happy. Duval, for any of you out there. Yeah, well, probably not. Don't worry about it. Greg says, we must keep a piece of pen and paper in your handy. Yes. What's always I'm not sure if it was in the video I just put up, but they asked me to go get my pen, and I was holding it in my hand. Says, hold on a second, let me go get it. Let me go find it. I did that just for you guys, just to, just as a little thank you to you guys. So David says, it sucks that there are that many bad people in the world. Well, I hate to say it, but I think in a lot of these cultures, like in India and Pakistan, all these other, they consider it a job. They truly do consider what they're doing a job, a profession. And they don't have respect for people in America, in the US. They think we're all rich and we all have money we can just throw out and give away. And in their minds, they're doing a job. And it's horrible. And honestly, there are people in the States that take advantage of people and try to scam people. Same thing. They're criminals. The people in India and Pakistan, the scammers, they're criminals too, but it's kind of a way of life for them, from what I understand. Sometimes that's the only job they can find, and that's really despicable. That's really horrible. But you know what? They asked for the job, they took the job, they do the job, they get me, they're going to get screwed with, and I'm going to love every minute of it. Glass Bottle says, I've gotten the same scammers you got from your videos, so I know they are watching your videos. I know there's a few out there that watch my videos because I get comments from some of them. And it's almost like they can't hide the fact that they're scammers. And when you read a comment, you're like, that's a scammer. And I don't mind if they watch the videos. I mean, whatever, they're not going to change. Somebody was telling me, they said, why are you giving them information so that they can be better scammers? And I'm like, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. They're never going to change their voices. They're always going to have the accents. They're always going to be despicable people lying to you and trying to get you to give them something. Whether it's your personal information, your credit card number, your bank number, whatever, they're going to try to steal from you. So always be aware of that fact. Clifford says, Manuel, good evening there. Tim says, that one lady is so awful. You're talking about the Comcast lady, the internet provider one. I think that was today's video. I've spoken to her numerous times. Her voice is so annoying. She doesn't shut up and she keeps talking and she talks right over you. And I've got numerous videos where I've talked to her. So you'd think she would have figured it out by now, but nope. Hey, if they want to call me back, let them. Manuel says, Drew, are you ready for tomorrow? I am. What's bad about tomorrow is there's a comic book convention in Daytona, which is about an hour and a half from here. And I'm going with my son. We're going to leave the store about 8 a.m. We'll get there around 10 for when the show starts. And then I'll come back to the store, open up the store, finish the day at the store, and have the Jaguar game on during those hours. But we might not get back till closer to 2, which means we might miss the first hour. We'll listen to it on the radio, of course, but I won't be watching the whole thing. But that's okay. You got to give it a little give and take in life, you know. B Dad says, "Do you make a list of names with certain info you don't slip up?" And I've gotten to the point where I have a little Rolodex of the names and address and date of birth and all that I use, and I'm usually pretty good with it. I know when they call and they say we're calling about healthcare, I'm not 68, I'm 63. So I know which date of birth to do for that. Sometimes I give them the same exact name that I use for the other ones, but I know that they're looking for people that are not on Medicare. And if they mention Medicare, I know my date of birth in order to tell them I'm 68, which there are times when they don't believe me, and that's good because they're paying attention. But most of the times they just keep going. But yeah, I don't have it written down. I've pretty much memorized like the fake address I use, the fake date of birth I use. The only thing I do write down is when I'm giving them fake bank account numbers or credit card numbers. I will write those down as I make them up, so that when they say, "Can you repeat it?" I give them the right information, because they will test you on that to make sure you're not screwing with them, which you know I am, and I love it. Clifford says, "Not everyone is Jim Browning. Probably why he covered his face. Hacking scam call centers can be hazardous to your health." Yeah, I don't think that's a job I'd ever want to do, to be honest with you. But I was going to say there's worse jobs out there. There are, but there you have to have a little black in your soul in order to work at a scam call center, trying to take advantage of people and stealing from them. So if they get hit by a bus tomorrow, I don't have any pity for them. So Jonathan says, "Have you gotten the accident helpline scam?" Yep, numerous times. I've never actually gotten that one to fruition, so I don't really know exactly where it goes. But I've gotten the call numerous times. Usually they say, "Have you been in an accident within the last 2 years?" I say, "Yeah, it happened just a month ago." They usually panic and hang up for some reason. I don't know why, but they do. So you get those calls, just screw with them. Tim says, "Get the pen in your handy." I'm ready. I got it. What is this, by the way? Oh, it's my accounting, my accountant's information. Hold on a second. Yes?
Did you say there was extra sauce?
No, all the sauce is in the bowl. Okay. I just quickly get to the reason why I was late this evening. The wife and mother-in-law have been out of town all week. And honestly, you'd think that would give me an opportunity to catch up and get ahead on videos, and I did not. So shame on Drew. But they were coming back this evening. And guess what time they got to the door and came in? 7:59. Just as I'm sitting down to set everything up, they arrive. So of course I had to go help unload the luggage and everything and do all that stuff. So that is the reason why I'm late, because I just knew that is when they would show up as soon as I was getting ready to start the stream. So, but I'm here for you guys. I'm here. I wouldn't miss it for the world. D-Bad says, "No morals." That's right. Oh, geez, Jonathan. Jonathan sent me a $3 super sticker. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Dave says, "I hear the Jags have a good team, but if they got rid of the QB, they could be if they got rid of their QB, they could be better." What are you talking about? Trevor Lawrence is fantastic. You know? Well, we'll see. We'll see. I have high hopes for this year. So Manuel says, good evening to Jonathan. Darlene says, my oldest sister is a football fan in our family. Well, you know what's so funny is my family, my mom, my dad, me, and my sister, we were not big sports fans. The biggest sporting event that we paid attention to was the Olympics. That was it. My mom and my dad, they loved the Olympics, swimming, gymnastics. They paid attention to that. But when it came to sports teams, we really didn't do that until the Jags came to Jacksonville. Then we became NFL sports fans and have been ever since. And both my kids were born here in Jacksonville, and neither one of them could care less about football, about the Jags, or about any other team. But I told them, I said, you guys, you do realize you are Jaguar fans for life because you were born in this town. Whether you watch the games, whether you pay attention to what's going on, it doesn't matter. You're Jags fans, period. They've accepted that, but they're not happy about it. I was born in a little itty dinky town in Rhode Island, and we don't have any sports teams up there, except for, believe it or not, they have Highlight in Rhode Island, where I was originally from. My parents, my dad was in the military, the Navy, so we moved a lot. So we never really stayed in one place for very long. What's so funny is they were stationed here in Jacksonville when I was in just about high school. Then they got stationed in Pensacola, where we lived there for a few of the years. And then my dad retired, and my parents were like, well, we're moving back to Jacksonville because we like Jacksonville better. And I've been here ever since. Met my wife, had my kids, had my job, had my business. And it's a great town. If you guys ever get a chance to visit, stop on by. You're all invited. Glenn says, Betty, my 83-year-old voice was called about my student loan. That's funny. I told them I was in hospice care and wasn't able to pay for it before I died. Pay it off before I died. I get calls about student loans. I never even went to college more than once or 2 semesters, and I wasn't there long enough to do anything. So I never even got student loans, but I get calls. Love it. Love it. Glass Bottle says scammers lie so much that they believe their lies. They do. They absolutely do. Craig says the pen thing was funny, like when you had to find the right quarter. Hey, sometimes I do this just for you, my friend, just for you. Manuel says good evening to Darlene. Darlene says good evening to Manuel. Manuel says my team Dallas plays tomorrow night at the New York Stadium. Okay, I will root for Dallas because they're not playing the Jags. Actually, my rule is I root for the Jags and whoever is playing the Texans, the Titans, or the Colts. So I am fans of whoever is playing those 3 teams because they're all in our division. Just so y'all know. B-Dad says, what part of the country are you in? I got a call recently. I'm pretty sure I put the recording out there where the guy told me he was in Tampa. And it was like right after the storm came through. And I asked him how he did through the storm, how the hurricane. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, geez. I mean, it's what's that old saying? Tell me you don't like being stuck in traffic without telling me you don't like being stuck in traffic. It's like, tell me you don't live in Tampa without telling me you really don't live in Tampa. They're not bright. Craig says glass bottles right. They just believe their lies. They do. T-Bad says, are you from Florida or Georgia? I'm not from either Florida or Georgia. I've just been living in Florida for my dad retired and we moved back to Jacksonville when I was in the 8th grade. I was in Pensacola for 2 years, so that would be 6th grade. But we originally were in Jacksonville for 2 years. So I've been in Florida since I was in 3rd grade. So since I was probably 8 or 9 years old. Oh my gosh, that's a long damn time. Over almost 40 years. Oh, in Florida. Crazy. David says, Hamfest here tomorrow. Okay, Hamfest. What's Hamfest? D-Bad says, do you have a team of people collecting info to turn these people in? I wish that was possible. I wish that was possible. But a lot of times, and you guys probably know this, they're spoofing somebody else's number when they call you. So there's no real, you can't use the information that you get from them in order to identify where they actually are, because they're never going to tell you where they are. I know there are applications and programs out there that you can use, especially if you take the call through your computer, which I just take it through my cell phone. So there are ways that people can track down where these calls are actually coming from. I don't have that ability. So unless they tell me the truth of where they're calling from, which they probably never will, that's just the way it goes. Manuel says, you watch Thursday night's Lions versus Chiefs? Nope, I missed it. I was busy doing work. I watched the game on YouTube, 21 versus Chiefs. Oh, really? The Lions beat the Chiefs. Very good. Oh, geez. Jonathan, thank you so much. Have you gotten the accident helpline scam? Yeah, he sent me $10. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Glass Bottle says, scammers will break their necks just to get people's info and go so far is to go to the dark web. Well, I forget who it was. Somebody on the live stream shared a website that you can input a person's name or their cell phone number, their telephone number, or whatever, and it will scour the internet and bring you a listing of every person that may be connected to that address. And I did it with my phone number, and that's where I found Carl Walter's name. I found Timothy's name, Eugene's name. So somebody out there is taking the information when they call me, the fake information that I give them, and they're attaching it to my phone number. And it's out there. So whether it's on the dark web or not, I seriously doubt it. I think it's just out there. I'm fairly certain Google has it somewhere. Manuel says, my friend Drew this Thursday night. Yeah, the past Thursday night. Yeah. I did not see it. I didn't see it. I was busy doing work, but that happens. Jonathan says, I tell them it was a hit and run. They asked me if they hit my car. That's funny. Actually, Jonathan, I actually was in an accident a few months ago. I was at a light and I was getting ready to go, and I stopped because the cars coming were speeding up, and the guy behind me was looking at the traffic and thought, I can go, and plowed right into the back of me. So I actually was in an accident. So when these people are calling and saying, have you been in an accident within the last 2 years? The answer is yes. Yes, of course I have. But they're really not calling to help you. They're absolutely not calling to help you. Hey, Rosemary, how's it going? Rosemary says, hi, Misfit Corner. Love all your work. Thank you so much. You're helping so many people understand that these horrible scammers do. Keep going forward. Well, thank you very much, Rosemary. I hope you're doing good. Fantastic. Bertha's here. Says, good evening, one and all. Welcome. Anita's here. Hey, Anita, haven't seen you in a while. How's it going? Says, last night at 11, someone called me, and I looked up the number, and it said it was a church. That's weird. Now, I've gotten, from time to time, my phone, other than saying scam likely, will actually say what the number is associated with. I've gotten calls from security companies, barber shops, just all different weird places that they've called those numbers. Because a lot of times the scammers, what they'll do is they'll call a number and then they'll use that number as the spoof number that they claim to be calling from. So at some point, some scammer probably tried calling a church. That's crazy. But I would not put it above them. Clifford says, I got called one time by the Canadian Revenue Agency, our IRS. They left a message saying there was a warrant for me, etc. I never bothered calling back. Not arrested, shockingly. Yeah. I keep getting calls from this one company where it's never a person. It's always a message. It says, oh, we're sorry we missed your call. And it's like, I literally just answered the phone. How could I? And they say, call us back on this number. But when I call back the number, it's either a disconnected number or it doesn't belong to them. So I'm not sure what they're trying to do. But I know it's associated, that particular attempt is associated with the Amazon scammers, because I've gotten one of them where I actually got to a person and it was an Amazon scam. So, Tattletale's here. Hey, how's it going? Lately, I've been catching scammers on their location. They claim U.S. This week, one told me he was in Miami. After a test question, who's the governor of Miami? He claimed he didn't hear me. That's good. Who's the governor of Miami? That's a good one. I wonder if they'd be smart enough to know, like, who's the governor of a state or something. If they claim to be from Texas, hey, what do you think of that governor there? What's his name? What's his name? Whether or not they'd know. I mean, you could do a quick Google search and see, but very interesting. That may be something to stump them on later. Manuel says, Drew, watch your video. I see the fat cat in your office. See your hot plates of food. Yeah. Well, this desk right here that you see here is my 9 to 5 work desk. And you can't see my computer screen or nothing, but you can see the desk. And usually if I'm eating while I'm working. Never take a lunch. Never take a lunch. Manuel says, good evening to Tattletale. D-Bad says, I'm Hockey Ali the way. I'm Hockey Ali the way. Not sure what that means, but okay. Tattletale says, a common play to Google it. After accusing him of lying, I asked for his supervisor. The super in the same office claimed California. I gotcha. Glass Bottle says, I love NASCAR. Oh, okay. Well, NASCAR's big here in Florida. We had the Daytona 500, but I've never been a NASCAR fan. Never got into it. I had a brother-in-law at one point. It's my first brother-in-law. I've had many, by the way, many. He was a NASCAR fan, but I never really got to know him very well. I mean, I'm sure he would have invited me to a NASCAR thing or something, but thank God we didn't get a chance to do that. Anyway, Manuel says, I love soccer and football and basketball and baseball. All right, you're very well-rounded, Manuel. I honestly, the only thing I focus on, even slightly, is the football. And it's not, and somebody asked me today, said, or not today, it was last weekend, asked me if I was a college fan, who was my college team, and I'm like, I don't pay attention to college. So, nope, I just pay attention to the Jags, and that's pretty much it. Rosemary says, hi to all Misfit Corner fans. Well, thank you guys. D-Bad says, so your job, cybersecurity? Nope, I don't work cybersecurity. I work for a company that does appointments for doctors. Like when you call your doctor to set up an appointment, you may not actually be calling the doctor's office. You may be calling a call center that handles the doctor's appointments. I don't actually do that. I do forecasting and stuff like that for the company. I don't actually talk to customers, but I do a lot of database and SQL and Tableau and all this other stuff. And not cybersecurity. I mean, we're involved with cybersecurity. I know enough about it to be dangerous, but mostly it's databases and Excel spreadsheets and stuff like that. It's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of formulas. I was talking to my niece the other day, and she was saying something. She's getting ready to graduate from high school, and she was saying something about hating algebra. And I'm like, babe, I use algebra every single day. A lot of people say they never use algebra. All the damn time. Even just the basics. A plus B equals C. That simple stuff. Use it all the time. You'd be amazed. Birth says, I have a question. The first time ever yesterday, I got a car insurance scam. How do those work? I don't drive, but everyone got a kick by what I've said to them. You're talking about the car insurance one, because I've gotten two different types of car related scam calls. One is the car warranty one, where they claim to know everything about you, but then have no idea who you are and know nothing about your car. They're literally just calling and saying, hey, we found your car's extended warranty is gonna expire. Let us help you get a new one. Car insurance, I've gotten a few car insurance scams, and they always start off by asking questions like, do you have insurance and who do you have it with? It's like, that already is too much information. That's like telling somebody, maybe not apple to apple equivalency, but it's like telling somebody, yes, I have a security system at home, or no, I don't have it's none of your business who I do my business with. If you knew you would be on a much better position with me. If you already knew who my insurance company was and you were calling to offer me a different rate or something, maybe. But if you don't know anything about me, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. I telemarketers and scammers, they're almost the same thing in my mind in a lot of cases. So Tim says, I worked for Highlight for the 2 weeks in the West Palm Beach back in the 70s. Oh, very cool. I've actually never been to a Highlight game. I know it exists. I know what it is. I've seen it in videos, but I've never actually been to one. In the town that my mom is from, where we lived in Rhode Island, where I was born, Highlight is like a major, gambling and betting thing. So, but I've never actually been to a game. So I know it exists, but that's about all I know about it. Manuel says, hey to births. Manuel says, New Orleans and the Titans in Louisiana. Okay, very good, very good. Oh, Tim sent me more money, $2. Says, are in Jackson Valley, Florida? Yes, I am. Florida. I love it when they mispronounce Jacksonville. I mean, it warms my heart when they say something what I think is so simple and they just butcher it. I love it when they try to say Ocala. that's another city a little further down, South Florida. And when they say, because I think at one point, I didn't make up Carl Walters, by the way. Carl Walters was somebody they called about, and I just said, yeah, that's me. Of course that's me. I'm just going with the flow. He had an address, or there's an address somewhere in Ocala, and I tell him, no, I don't live there anymore. But I love it when they try to say Ocala. Glass Bottle says, that's a red flag when they don't know weather conditions in the U.S. That is absolutely true. There's a lot of red flags when they don't know crap. It's a wonderful thing. Anthony's here. Hey, Anthony says, my first live, Malvern, UK. Oh, fantastic. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming by. Awesome. Burst says, according to some scammers, if they live in California, they live close to the JFK airport. Really? Okay. I always find it funny when they say they're from Florida. Like I'll get them saying they're from Miami or Tampa or Orlando. And there's always questions you can ask because I know enough about Florida that I could probably stump them. But when it comes to places like Texas and California, I have no clue. I think I'm trying to remember if I've ever actually even been to Texas. I think maybe I was when I was a kid. I think that's the furthest west I've ever gone, but I've never been to California, so I have no idea anything about California. Darlene says, I had a few actual summer days, then back to rainy today. Leaves are turning now. Well, we were promised rain today, and it never came. It was hot all damn day today. Thank goodness I have AC in my store, so I appreciate it thoroughly hanging out at my store. So a lot of people do too. A lot of people just come and say, hey, how's it going, Andrew? Hang out with me and then leave. It's okay. Glenn says, Hamfest, amateur radio operators. Oh, okay. Kind of a swap fest for electronics and radio equipment. My call sign is WBOVTX. Bovixed. I don't know if you actually use that or not, but that's cool. Hamfest. Okay, I get you. Like ham radio stuff. So, okay. Very cool. Very cool. Manuel says today is college football season. Absolutely, but I'm not paying attention. Manuel, who's your college football team? Who should I be following, or who should I be paying attention to and rooting for? You let me know, because I think the only team that I even remotely pay attention to, and it's for the wrong reason, is the Georgia Bulldogs. And the reason that is my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, went to Georgia and is a Bulldog fan. So I'm always joking, well, I'm rooting for whoever's playing Georgia. He hates that. But otherwise I don't really pay attention. So you tell me who I should focus on and I'll try my best. Manuel says, Rosemary, good evening. Rosemary says hi to Manuel. Manuel says, happy Saturday night to Anita. Jonathan says, accident helpline sounds like an old ambulance chaser scam. Most likely. Very much so. mainly because I just like the car warranty ones, and I've said this before, if they have to lie to you in order to get in the door to talk to you about something, it's a scam. Okay? When they call you up and tell you that our records indicate your warranty has either expired or is going to expire. Our records indicate that you've been in an accident within the last 2 years. There is no records. They're not looking at any records. They're lying to you in order to get you to talk to them, in order to get you to give them information. I don't know if I told you guys the story. I probably told you guys the story before. When my kids were younger, we had a dog, and they were outside in the front yard playing with him. And my daughter comes running in the house and says, Dad, there's a man outside who says Charlie is his dog and he wants him. And I'm like, what the? I'm like, what? So I go to the door. I open the door to see what's going on. And the guy's like, oh, man, just kidding. He was one of those guys, those door-to-door salesmen that sell steaks. You know, the guys in the freezer trucks that sell steak. He said, I just made that up to get you to come out and talk to me. And I'm like, you son. And I would. And I put my foot down right there, and I will never buy from your company, ever. If you have to lie to get me to come to the door, never, ever, ever. And I never have. Even though people have told me it's great steak and whatnot, great prices, great quality, I don't care. If the salesman has to lie to you and lie to your children, is what he did, in order to get me to come to the door, F you, man. F you, buddy. Never, 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 never. But so when I say, if a scammer calls you and has to lie to you to get you to come to the door to start the conversation, that's the kind of the story I'm talking about. You know, you piece of crap. And that would, yeah. I still to this day, I hold a grudge against that. My kids were probably, it had to be within the last 15 years. So the kids probably were 10 and 12 or 12 and 13, that age. So they were young. Glass Bottle says, scammer used a tow truck business for San Jose, Cali, and I live in Wisconsin. LOL. I had one recently, Glass Bottle. The phone number came up as Hawaii, and I was like, yeah, I don't think so. And I never even got a chance to ask him about that, how the weather was in Hawaii and whatnot before he ended up disconnecting. But as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's got to be a scammer. We're gonna see what they're doing. D-Bed says, ask time zones. They are not good at that. No, they are not. No, they are not. I've had ones in the past where I'm like, so you're going to call me tomorrow? And I said, what day is tomorrow? And they're like, they get stumped. They don't have a clue because they're like 7-8 hours ahead. So usually when you're talking to them, it's the middle of the night over there for them. So, all right, let's see what's going on. D-Bad, your name is confusing the crap out of me, but I got it. D-Bad all. D-Bad says, says, not Ali, that was a mistype. Okay, I gotcha. Jonathan says, where's your cat? I've got the door shut right now. The mother and the wife are home. I'm letting them have fun with the cats and the dogs. So no cats in here right now. At least I hope not. Nope. They would have jumped up on the desk by now if they were here. Michael's here. Hey, Michael, how's it going? Says robot calls. Get a lot of those. Get a lot of those. Manuel says, hey to Betsy. The monster is out there somewhere, probably talking to and having fun with her mother. So Michael says, robot calls again. Okay. Clifford says, I followed the CFL a little bit, the baseball, and of course, ice hockey. That starts real soon. Okay. I have no idea when the hockey starts. So that's cool. That's cool. I know we have a team here in Jacksonville. I think it's the Iceman. I don't know. I don't think they're a pro team. I think they're a semi-pro team or a, one of those. They're not like the New York Yankees of hockey. They're like one of the lower teams, but I've only ever been to one game. And that was a long, long time ago. Michael says, robot calls. Me, are you a robot? Robot, no. Why would you think that? Me, who's the president? Hangs up. Yep, very much so. Tattletale says, ask the scammers what is nickels worth. They're clueless. One claimed it depends on how much from the periodic table. Now that's funny. I don't. A lot of the scammers I talk to probably wouldn't have patience for questions. But then again, I get some that, while we're waiting for something, they like to chit chat about stuff. That's the best time to ask questions. So I'm going to keep that in mind, play around with them, see if we can really test them thoroughly. Rosemary says, hi to Manuel. Good to see you. Manuel says, glad to see you, Rosemary. Beautiful lady. How are you doing tonight? Tattletale says, one of my favorite questions to a scammer, whose picture is on the $25 bill? I have yet to have one give me the right answer. That's funny. Rosemary says, sorry, Manuel. Michael says, scammer selling auto warranty. What kind of car do you have? Me, 1976 AMC Pacer. Scammer hangs up. Dave says, 76 Pacer. Laugh out loud. Man, I learned how to drive in a Yugo. I think I've told you guys that in the past. I don't know what year it was, but my dad, for some reason, bought a Yugo, and I learned how to drive in that. So I should tell him that next time. Craig says, Anthony from the UK, welcome. We're cool. You'll have fun hanging out with us. Absolutely. That's what we try to do here. Glenn says, tell the car warranty scammers you have a 2018 Tata Intra, a truck that is only made and sold in India. Oh, that's fantastic. Hold on a second. I got to write that down. A 2018 Tata Intra. All right. We'll see. We'll see if we get an opportunity to use that. Anita says, a car warranty called me and I told them I had just bought a Toyota Tundra and it had 130 miles on it, and they tried to tell me the warranty has expired. Yep. Absolutely they do. Despicable, you know that. Manuel says, hey, it's okay, Rosemary. I'm doing good Saturday night. Rosemary says, hi, Manuel. Doing good. Thanks. Manuel says, hey to Anthony. D-Bad says, oh, like St. Cloud in Florida or Minnesota. Oh, I gotcha. Glass Bottle says, I got a fake cop scam call saying it's time of the year and kicking off the support of the police. Can you kick in $40 and I can count for your pledge? Laugh out loud. All the ones I get lately, I've gotten a few that were most likely genuine charity calls for donations. It's usually a real person. But I get a lot more of the robot ones where they tell you we're calling on behalf of a political action campaign, a PAC, a PAC, and despicable. Though I know some of them are valid in the fact that they're a real thing, they're not a scam thing. But the fact is, they're calling you, telling you they're trying to help out policemen and firefighters and veterans and women with cancer and so forth. But all they're doing is collecting money for politicians. And my biggest complaint, my biggest worry is you may be on one side of the aisle or the other. That money, if you gave to them, could be going to the other side, not to the people that you would support in the first place. If you want to support a politician, you reach out and support a politician. Don't give to these PACs because you have no idea where that money's going and what it's being used for. But I love asking them what the money's being used for. They never will say. But Anthony says hi to Manuel. Manuel says we get rain yesterday with bad storms coming through Louisiana this afternoon. We were supposed to get rain today, but if it drizzled, that's all it did. That's all we got. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Anthony says, thanks for the kind welcome. Not a problem. Anytime, man. Manuel says, LSU Tigers from Louisiana. Okay, LSU Tigers. All right. I'll have to pay attention, see what they're up to, and see who they're playing. Manuel, do they ever play the Bulldogs? Georgia Bulldogs? Oh, that could be funny. Clifford says, I always find it funny when people live and die by the college teams when they never spent a minute at attending classes there. I went to a college for 2 semesters, and this college is notorious here in Jacksonville for not having any football team. Doesn't have a football team. So it was one of the only college, well, not the only college, but one of the colleges here that just is not big enough to have a sports team. So I think the joke was always, and the same with my high school. My high school didn't have sports teams either. Avery and I both went to an art school, an art high school, and we didn't. There wasn't sports, and we always joked that our sports teams were undefeated because we didn't have one. Dave says Ohio State Buckeyes college football. Okay, okay. Where did my dad go? My dad went to Iowa, but I think that's Hawkeye. I think the team up there is the Hawkeyes. Maybe, I don't know. I'll have to ask him. I don't know. I never paid attention. Tim says I'm in Wildcat country. Very good, very good. Rosemary says, Andrew, you're doing a great job teaching us how to deal with these horrible scammers. Thank you so much. Hey, the bottom line is never give them your real information and waste as much of their time as possible. That's the best way to do it. Tattletale says, I tried telling the auto warranty scammers my mileage in kilometers. She was clueless on the conversion rate. That's funny. Darlene says, we bought our current used car 5 years ago. No warranty. You know what's so funny? The last 2 cars I bought one for my daughter and I bought one for me. And I got the extended warranty, whether it was 1 year or 2 years. I don't remember, and never ever used them. I don't remember how much they were, but we never used them, you know? But I'm also the kind of guy that I drive my car until it's dead, till it can no longer go anymore. So my car probably still got some miles kicking on it, but probably another year or two, and we'll probably have to replace it, but not looking forward to it. I like my car. It's a nice little car. Manuel says, you're very welcome, Rosemary. Thank you so much. Glass Bottle says, scammers are giving me a minute and just Google. You know what's so funny? If you ask them a question that should be very easy to answer, and they kind of have to wait a minute because they're Googling the answer, you know, that's hilarious. Manuel says, good evening to Michael. Rosemary says, Manuel, thank you. Good to see you. Glenn says, ask them if they have any henways. When they ask what is a henway, tell them it's about 3 pounds. That's funny. You'd think they would know that, right? D-Bad says, people just FYI, these robot calls can mimic your voice, so before you speak and hear no noise in the background, make them speak first. Okay. Like I said, that's one of the reasons why I give them all fake information. If they want to use the fake information I gave them to try to file a claim against Medicare using either Timothy's name or Herschel's name or Eugene's name, good luck. Good luck. Go for it, because those people don't exist. So Clifford says, the Icemen are a team in the ECHL, formerly the East Coast Hockey League, a minor pro team 2 levels below the NHL. See, I knew it wasn't the pro team. So, okay. But yeah, we have hockey here in town. Like I said, I've been to one game in my life, and that was many, many years ago. I went with a buddy of mine who I actually haven't seen in probably over 10 years. So it's been a while since I've been. Jonathan says, the Spectrum scammers want the passcode for your account. Then they want the last 4 of your social. Yep. I always give them fake stuff. Actually, I found out something interesting. I did not believe Spectrum was here in Jacksonville. I don't think they are. But they are in Tampa, because my niece, she went to college down in Tampa, and was telling me that she owes Spectrum money for for a Wi-Fi box or something. And I was like, really? You had Spectrum? And she says, yeah. They're there in Tampa, but they're not here in Jacksonville. So interesting. Worth knowing. Manuel says, I see news about India is bad, right, with the government. Well, you get the government you vote for. You get the government you put in place, you know? So do we. D-Bad says they use AI-OR to create AI-OR. I know what he's trying to say. They use AI to create fraud. I honestly don't know if they're smart enough to do that just yet. I know there is AI out there that can mimic people's voices, and they've done it with songs, and they've done it with there's that one really famous AI generated one where it's a whole bunch of different people on a conference call. which is, if you guys have seen it, it's pretty funny. But it's a political one. So yeah, we don't talk politics here, not really, but I don't know if the scammers are smart enough to be able to use the voice that you give them, that you say to them, to hurt you. That's one of the reasons why I say don't give them your real information ever, 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 ever. You know. Manuel says I had a pacer back in 1980. Very good. He's in smiley faces. Glass Bottle says, sadly, no one can trust phone calls with an accent thanks to scammers. That you know what's so funny is I got a call from a young lady recently who called about my debit card, that there was a transaction that was attempted in Tampa, which I had not been to Tampa, and she did not ask for my account number, none of that. There was a little bit of verification that was done, but she was asking for me, so I knew it was probably going to be okay. And we went through the whole steps. There was a few little things that she verified, nothing major. We confirmed. I said, "What was the last time I used my card?" She said, "Did you use it at Walmart for?" And I said, "Yep, I did. I used it just a few minutes ago. I just gotten home from Walmart, so I knew it was valid." But she did have a slight accent. I don't believe it was an Indian accent because I've spoken to a lot of people from India, but she definitely had an accent. But it wasn't so in your face that I didn't trust her. So you got to be careful when it comes to people calling with accents, because there's a lot of people out there that have accents, and a lot of people work in call centers. I should know. I work for a company that has a call center. So there's a lot of people that have accents, and I don't. That's one of the reasons why I don't say that's the immediate thing that I hear that I say, okay, this is a scam. They have a foreign accent, it's a scam. I don't always think that. It's like 50-50. Let's see what they're calling about before we determine. Because you guys, I told you the story before how my wife has a rule. I have to pretend like every call I get is valid until I know it's a scam. So I have to be nice. I have to be nice until I know. And I don't I try not to go by just the accent, because there are people out there doing legitimate work that have accents. It's true. But yeah, but generally, yeah. Manuel says, yes, we play Georgia Bulldogs. Well, fantastic. Well, then I'm rooting for LSU then. Hey, Carl's here. Hey, Carl, how's it going? I have fun at their expense by telling them my name is Waldo Betterdorf. We spent many minutes of hilarity as they can't pronounce it, let alone spell it. Honestly, Timothy is the gift that just keeps giving. For some reason, they have such a hard time with Timothy. I love it. I love it. But that's a good one. Waldo Betterdorf. Very good. Anthony says, it amazes me just how many scams you guys over the pond receive. Yeah, oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Like, the majority of the calls that we get started around the time that we moved in to help take care of my wife's grandmother. She was diagnosed with onset dementia. She passed away 2 years ago. She was in the home for 3 years. We lived with her for almost half a year. So it's like 6 years ago is when we moved in with her to start help take care of her. And that's all she got all day long was scam calls. All day long. And I'm not sure if my telephone or our cell phone numbers got connected to her phone number because of the fact we were living there. But that's when the calls started coming. The majority of calls, when I really started paying attention to the fact I was getting all these scam calls, is when we moved in to help take care of her. So, and that's who they target. They target the elderly. So our number and our names getting connected to her number is probably how we got on everybody in God's green earth's list. But yes, it's crazy how many calls we get. Tattletale says, I asked a scammer what the speed limit was on the street he lives on. He said 80. That's probably 80 kilometers. Anthony says, get. Oh, wait. He says, it amazes me how many. Yeah, okay, I gotcha. How many we get. Gotcha. Bertha says, I told the scammer I had a 2023 Bentley. He asked me what model, and he didn't understand. I said it was a Continental. I said yes. That's funny. Bertha says he asked if I had another car, and I said yes, and that's a Rolls Royce, and that's a cheap car, but my 8-year-old daughter drives that one. That's funny. Manuel says, yes, you are the best friends and the best rated for the best of us, the best rated, the best show. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that's something else I'll mention in just a minute. Darlene says, ask Scammer who's on the $2 bill. Well, $2 bills exist. There really is $2. My son collects them. He's got like a stack like this big of $2 bills. But I'm not sure who's on it, to be honest with you. I'll have to ask him. Glass Bottle says, actually, when you get a robocall, the scammers are listening in until you say a Hindi curse word, they hang up. Yeah, I figured as much. I know they're probably listening in because there's some direction being done. That's why you guys may notice that when I get the robocalls and it's obvious it's a robocall, I try to still play along. I don't get upset. I try to just play along because my goal is eventually get to a person to waste their time. But you know somebody's listening in. Clifford says a lot of corruption in India, sadly, but we also have our own corruption here in Kanakistan. Kanakistan? I like that. That's good. I'm assuming that's a way of another way. Avery would make fun of me right now for saying Canada, but yes, I gotcha. Tim says, I've made attempts to use Kenny Rogers Ruby. Don't take your love to Ruby. Don't take your love to our town. Your love to town. Darlene says, our Spectrum used to be called Time Warner Cable. We switched to DirecTV, then dropped that when the price kept going up. To be honest with you, I think we've been Comcast Xfinity customers since we got married. And that's getting ready to be 30 years. We just stick with the same team. Even if the customer service sucks, we still stuck with them. So D-Bad says, nice is not in my vocabulary. My wife gets on my case because I tear people up. I understand. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes it's very permissible. Manuel says, good evening to Carl. Glass Bottle says 9 X's out of 10, it leads to scams because their scammers moonlight in scamming and sell your stuff to scammers. They absolutely 100% do. What's so funny is I have that series of cable provider scam calls. I think today's was number 10 in the series. They always call and say, we talked to you before and you gave us your checking account information. It's not always that. Sometimes it's the same people, but sometimes it's different people. But several of those calls have end with screaming, yelling, and cursing, and they still call back. That's because they're giving the information to other call centers. It can't all be the same. It just cannot be the same, you know? Tattletale says, as a senior, I'm bombarded with Medicare scam calls. I estimate 20 to 30 a day. I'm not a senior, and I get 20 to 30 scam calls, Medicare scam calls a day, too. But it's also because I lived with people who had Medicare, and my number was attached somehow. So Tattletale says, Thomas Jefferson. Okay, Thomas Jefferson's on the $2 bill. Craig Brown says, Tattletale's right. I just Googled it. Okay, very good. Manuel says, yes, Thomas Jefferson. All right, we're good. Darlene says, I saved a couple of $2 bills from the 80s. My son, he works at a theater. There was one day he was really proud of the fact that somebody came in and paid him or was paying their tab at the concessions or whatever with $2 bills. And he pulled out his wallet, took out the own money and replaced it in the till so he could have the $2 bills. And my father-in-law, before he passed, was an avid coin collector, and he collected bills, series of bills. And just so happened these $2 bills were like 3 of them were in series. Like the numbers were 12, 13, and 14. And my father-in-law was like, that is a find for him. He was very proud of my son for getting those. So it's a thing that they like to do. Glenn says, got 3 robocalls about replacement windows this week. I haven't gotten those yet. That's an interesting one. I told them I was really interested and gave them address and phone number to the state capitol building. Fantastic. I had a scammer call me out. I think it was one of the recordings I released recently where they called me out on the address that I give them. Says, this is for the Scholzbacher Center. I said, yeah, I know. That's where I live. The Scholzbacher Center. It's the first time ever that they've called me out on that address. So, hey, Winona, how's it going? Winona says hi to all. Manuel says hello to Winona. Craig says hi to Winona. And Winona says, I've got several original $2 bills. Fantastic. Yeah, I don't know how many my son has, but he's got a little collection of them. So, all right, guys, I hate to say it. I know we were running late this evening, but we've already been doing this for an hour, and I've got somebody banging at the door. Most likely it's a dog. So I need to wrap up. I thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. I hope you guys had a good time. I promise, I plan, I am going to try my best to start on time next week. Next Saturday, I will do my best to be on time. This was a weird one. This one was a weird one where things were just happening all at the same time. And of course, Avery's not here to keep me afloat and keep me sane and keep me on schedule. But he's doing well. He's not feeling well, but he's doing well. So he'll be back. And I appreciate everybody out there who came and joined this evening. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Remember, if you get calls like the ones I get, either hang up on them or screw with them like I do. And if you do screw with them, try to record it and share it with everybody. So as we say, screw and share. That one's never going away, guys. We have too much fun with it. All right, everybody. Be safe this weekend, and we'll talk to you all next week, okay? Bye.